Welcome to Slapshot Podcast, episode number 87. I'm your host, Christopher Morais. Thank you for being here. Thank you for hanging out. Welcome in. The best time of the year has finally arrived. That's right. The NHL regular season is done. We are now focusing solely on the NHL playoffs. That's right. We have made it here. It has been a great time to be a Habs fan right now. We're going to dive right into that, of course. But this is what all the teams fight for. The first objective is to qualify for the playoffs. 16 teams do it. And then it's going to be a grueling battle to see who walks away with the greatest trophy in sports. That's the Stanley Cup. There's no debate about that. The Stanley Cup is the best trophy in sport. It's the only trophy you can drink out of. So that automatically makes it the absolute best. If you are new here, you're finding yourself in here by accident, hey, welcome in. First of all, welcome in. Thank you for being here. Thank you for hanging out. If you are watching this over on the YouTube, go ahead, hit the sub button, ring the bell, all right? Drop a like if you're watching this as well, if you enjoy this, all right? Go ahead, do that. If you are listening to this, because maybe you're like, Chris, I prefer the audio form of this. You can get it on Apple Podcasts. You can get it on Podbean. You can get it on Spotify. Go ahead, follow, like, subscribe, whatever that platform is. If you head over to the Slapshot Podcast X account, hit the link tree, and then you can see everywhere. You can find the podcast. You can follow it on your favorite platform. You can follow me as well on X at FuzzyChris91. We got so much to get into. I think we should just dive right in to the most important part of this day. We're going to start with some news. Okay, as always, that's not going to change. I know to the sadness of most of you, there will be no puck doku today. We just have too much to get into. We have too much to get into. Okay, too much. Instead, we're going to talk about the Montreal Canadiens season a little bit, and then we are going to build the perfect, absolute 100% correct NHL bracket. I'm telling you, it's perfect. So it is what it is. If yours doesn't look like mine, it's probably wrong. I'm sorry. I can't help you. So let's get to the news here. Nikita Kucherov has won the Art Ross Trophy for the second year in a row. I don't think people know just how good Nikita Kucherov is. Like, he is elite. He is in the company, like, he's in the conversation of probably one of the greatest players to ever play. Like, he's in the conversation with Sidney Crosby and Alexander Ovechkin and Connor McDavid one day. Like, Nikita Kucherov is that good. He's got a resume that is full of awards. He's got Stanley Cup rings on his fingers. He makes everybody around him better. And the consistency that this player brings is up there. So congratulations to Nikita Kucherov on winning that. Leon Draisaitl has won the Rocket Richard Trophy. If you had that at the beginning of the year, kudos to you, because I certainly didn't. But Leon Draisaitl does finish the year as a player with the most goals in the NHL. Congratulations to him. We'll talk a little bit about the Oilers a little bit later in the show. I guess some unfortunate news here, but San Jose Sharks captain Logan Couture has announced his retirement. He cannot make a return due to injuries. It's sad when a player has to retire due to injury, right? That's not the way you want to go out. You want to go out on your own terms always, but I mean, he was great for he was great for that franchise. He was a really, really good player as well. Hopefully he finds a role with the team. Hopefully he, can heal from whatever injury he is dealing with and just live a normal, regular life. But shout out to Logan Couture and the San Jose Sharks. Again, the San Jose Sharks, I think, have locked up they finished last in the NHL, to the shock of not many of us. But I will say this. The San Jose Sharks have a core that is building. The next wave of greatness is arriving. And I mean, we've said this multiple times. Sometimes when you're in a losing culture, like it sucks, right? It's no fun. But the vibes in San Jose are high. The vibes are up there. They're building part of the process. And if there are San Jose Shark fans out there, listen, as a Montreal Canadiens fan, we went through some turmoil to get to where we are today. And the rebuild has been, I would say, successful to this point. So chin up, San Jose Shark fans. One day it could turn. As long as you don't build, or as long as you don't fumble in the draft and in your development, you'll be back to competing soon. Awards, sticking with that awards, Jacob Fowler, Montreal Canadiens prospect, won the Mike Richter Award. Now, if you're like, what is that? That is the award given to the best goalie in college. So, Jacob Fowler racking up more awards. He is in the AHL. The Montreal Canadiens AHL team, the Laval Rocket, are poised to make a run in the playoffs. He also got his first win because he started a couple of games. So, good for him. Good spot for him to be. I still think that he should be playing in the AHL. He should be. That's probably where he is. But anyways, it is what it is. And to top this off, Sidney Crosby, for the 6th year in a row, was voted the most complete player by his peers. So the NHLPA does their anonymous survey for players. They ask them a whole bunch of questions. And to the shock of absolutely nobody, Sidney Crosby, like Alexander Ovechkin, continue to defy Father Time, at least for now. Because again, Father Time is undefeated. He will win. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. But Sidney Crosby continues to play at an exceptionally high level. It is unfortunate that the Penguins as a team are terrible, but clearly other players in the league understand just how good Sidney Crosby is. And I mean, look, no lies detected there. He is one of the most complete players in the NHL, even at his age. And the same way it is for Alexander Ovechkin. Alexander Ovechkin finished the year, by the way, with 44 goals at his age 39. All right. This is a man who also broke his leg. So, I mean, we have watched greatness for the better part of almost 2 decades. And I mean, one day we're going to look back on this and be like, wow, what a treat it was to watch those two play hockey for as long as they did. So, yeah, just absolute GGs, absolute massive W's to Sidney Crosby and everybody who loves him. So, yeah, that is the news. That is what that's what happened since the last time we were here. Let's talk a little bit about now the Montreal Canadiens. If you live under a rock, you have no idea that the Montreal Canadiens have qualified for the playoffs. It was stressful. I'm not gonna lie. The Montreal Canadiens made this hard, and also like shout out to the Columbus Blue Jackets because they made it interesting. They waited too long, but they made it exceptionally interesting. And for all the things that organization had to go through this year with the loss of, Johnny Gaudreau earlier in the year and everything else, the injuries and stuff, that I know it's not, and it's easy to say it from this side, right? But I don't think Columbus Blue Jacket fans should look at this season as a complete loss because it wasn't. I don't think many people had them as a team to challenge for a playoff spot. So, chin up. The future is bright in Columbus, and look, I've taken some shots at them, of course, but when you start to develop and you start to win, all of a sudden other players want to be there. Some players want to go to markets where it's nice, the weather's good, sure, but you also want to compete and you want to win. and winning will attract others, right? Because we dunk on Columbus for being a team that most players don't want to waive their no trade clause to. They don't want to be there, but I feel at one point that'll turn. And players will be like, hey, I want to be here because I want to be part of what's, the future and what's to come. The same way it is for Montreal. Look, there was a time in life where, John Tavares didn't even want to talk to the Montreal Canadiens. Why would he when he signed in Toronto? Montreal was not a very good team. Why would you want to be there? And now, with the nucleus of players that are there, maybe you can attract a big free agent to come over and help push this rebuild to the next level. But yes, shout out again to the Columbus Blue Jackets and their fans. The future is bright, man. It's coming. Let's take a look at this here. Let me switch here. Boom. This here, look at this. Look, man, what a time to be alive. The Montreal Canadiens have qualified for the playoffs. They will play Washington in the first round. A couple of points here. Let's start with Nick Suzuki, because I feel like I constantly got to defend him. He is a top 10 centerman in the NHL. I don't know how else to explain this to you. He finished with 89 points. 89. Okay. He had 8 penalty minutes all year. Okay. 4 power play goals, 2 shorthanded goals, 9 game-winning goals. Homie is elite. Homie is elite. And if you don't think so, you should probably get your head checked. You might be suffering from a concussion. Then we need to get that fixed out. Cole Caulfield, 37 goals. It's not 40, but we're cooking here. We're cooking, right? Lane Hudson finishes the year 60 assists. That is, he now holds the record for the most points by a Montreal Canadiens rookie defenseman. 66 points. He is locked up the Calder. There is no question about it. He is like, what do you want me to tell you? He's that good. He was everything as advertised. Everything advertised. And I guess the one player I want to talk about the most here, we talked about him on the last show, and then we he went out and did his thing. That is Ivan Demidov. Everything that we expected of him in game 1, we got. Okay? We got. This kid has skill beyond skill. He is talented. His first assist to Alex Newhook, listen, I'm not going to knock Alex Newhook too hard here, but homie can't finish. In that first game against Chicago, I don't know how many quality chances Demidov set up for Newhook, and Newhook was only able to bury 1. And then, the goal that he scored, just the flashes of skill that this kid has is incredible. And everybody say, doing it in the KHL is one thing. You're not going to be able to do that. The same way they talked about Lane Hudson, saying, you're not going to be able to do that in the NHL. Well, so far he can. So far he can do whatever he wants. That's how skilled he is. The way that he, when he gets into that wide stance and how he can still, his lower body can go one way, his upper body can go the other, and he can just, he's just elite. He's so good. He played less against Carolina here. He only took 12 shifts, played just under 11 minutes. I'm not worried about it. The Montreal Canadiens still had to win that game. So that's probably not where you want a 19-year-old who's just showing up, doesn't know the system, doesn't know what needs to be done. The goals had been scored at that point, right? The goals had been scored, so that's not where you need him. But I expect his role in the playoffs to continuously grow. In the same way, we talked about it last episode, the same way Cole Caulfield. Remember when he showed up as a rookie? The Montreal Canadiens made that run. You need guys who can score goals. And Ivan Demidov can do exactly that. He had a fantastic game. You know who else had a fantastic game? Caden Gooley. Probably 2 of the biggest goals he has scored in his career to this point. Caden Gooley is going to be a really good defenseman. maybe the offensive side won't be as high, but the meaningful minutes that he plays and everything that's asked of him. This is a player, by the way, I know most of you forgot, he had his appendix removed at the beginning of the year. Remember that? Missed some time. Then he had his lacerated quad, and people thought like that was it. That was the end of his season. Not only was that not the case, he came back, played meaningful games, played a ton of minutes. Oh, by the way, scored 2 of the most important goals of the year for the Canadiens. So there were a lot of things that went right for the Montreal Canadiens, right? And like Marty St. Louis said at the beginning of the year, why not us? Why not us? The first part of the war has been completed. They got to where they needed to be. Was it pretty? No. It was not. It was not pretty. But they're here. That's the most important thing is to qualify for the playoffs. Once you get to the dance, then it's about figuring it out. Now, the Montreal Canadiens do not play until Monday. We are Friday today. So they got some time. Guys can heal their bodies. I know some players probably need it. You know, Josh Anderson being one, Brendan Gallagher. The Montreal Canadiens probably going to practice a lot from now until then, work on their craft. It's going to give Demidov a chance as well, learn more of the system, right? Understand what he needs to do, how to fit into it. A couple days of practice. We're good now. We're good. The real battle starts though. But this was a season for the Montreal Canadiens. It had its highs and it had its lows, right? This was a team that was 31st in the NHL on December 1st. Right? This team, they looked like a lottery pick. They wanted to be in the mix and they were nowhere near the mix. And then they went on that run, right? Just around Christmas. They went on that run, stumbled a little bit. Four Nations break hit, and I think that was probably the turning point of their season. That extended time off probably helped the team. Because then they came back and they roared. That's it. They roared. They were one of the best teams after the Four Nations break. So this was a W season for the Canadiens. They wanted to be in the mix. They were in the mix. Now they've qualified. Is the rebuild over? Absolutely not. We still got time. Things need to happen, but we're moving closer. I would say we're about ready to get past the halfway mark of the rebuild. This is where we're at. This is what we've been building towards. So good for the Montreal Canadiens. They had a good season, even if they didn't make it, right? Let's say they didn't qualify. I don't think it would have been fair to categorize this season as like a waste because you wanted to be in the mix. That was your goal. And they were. It's not a failure. Even if the Montreal Canadiens get absolutely bounced in the first round by Washington, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Everything after this is a win. There are a lot of young players on this team who are going to get some playoff experience, right? So that's always a good thing. No matter what, you need a little bit of experience in the playoffs because it is a different animal, right? Anybody will tell you that. It doesn't matter what level you play at. When you get to the playoffs, everything is elevated. Your game is different. The way you prepare for it is different. It's not saying that you don't try during the year, but you got 82 games during the year. In the playoffs, you don't. You have 4. And if you can push it to 7, great. But now the quest is to win 4 games at a time. You need 16 wins to acquire the Stanley Cup, right? So battle starts soon. All right, let's move here to the most important thing, which is the NHL. My NHL bracket. We're going to build this together, okay? Now, it is perfect, but it could be subject to change, okay? I'm going to build the whole thing. Some of us are just going to build like the first round kind of thing. I'm going to build the whole thing. That's it. And it's going to be right, but it doesn't matter. And if it changes, it changes. We'll go back and we'll do round after round at that point. Probably the podcasts moving forward will be before every round. I'll probably do another one All right, we'll keep it on a weekly basis for now, and then as we get closer to the end of the year, we'll preview, right, some of the playoff series, and we'll go into the Stanley Cup. So let's build perfection here, okay? Let's start off here with the Winnipeg Jets and the St. Louis Blues. I'm gonna get the Winnipeg Jets are gonna get over the hump, okay? Listen, what the St. Louis Blues have been able to accomplish this year has been fantastic. The winning streak that they went on was something to be told, right? This is a team that went out, they got Jim Montgomery, struggled a little bit, and then they just caught fire. I don't think this is going to be the slaughter that most people think it is, right? By the way, this is also a rematch of Connor Hellebuck and Jordan Binnington. I don't know if you remember the last time those two faced off in some important games, but Canada walked away with a gold medal. Now, I'm not saying that the St. Louis Blues are Team Canada, because they are not, but Jordan Binnington was a big reason why Canada was able to come away with that win, because he made some key saves in overtime. So he's aware for it. And for the Jets, look, we know that they've struggled in the first round. We know that. They've had a hard time getting over the hump. There is a more than fantastic chance that Connor Hellebuck wins the Hart and the Vezina. First goalie to do it since Carey Price. And this is where you earn your paycheck, right? Winning all those regular season awards don't matter if you're not good in the playoffs. Just going to say it. So Connor Hellebuck has to be the best player on his team every night. And look, for the St. Louis Blues, if they want to figure out how to beat them, just go back to a couple of years ago when they faced Colorado in the first round. Colorado made him look like a third-string AHL goalie. So there are ways to get around it, but I do think that the Winnipeg Jets will get there. Next, Dallas, Colorado. A lot of things to unpack here, okay? A lot of things to unpack. Dallas has home ice in this series. I am going to take Colorado. And this will be the return of Mikko Rantanen to Colorado a couple times. The Dallas Stars, I will say this, there is no team with a top 9 as deep as them. Their top 9 offensively is just, they can hit you from so many angles. Tyler Seguin is back in the lineup. Perfect timing. We'll see. Jason Robertson left the last game with a knee injury. I have no idea why Dallas trotted him out there in a game that meant absolutely nothing. You know, sometimes people are why are we resting players at this point? It's for reasons like this. You're trying to avoid injuries. We'll see what shape Jason Robertson's in, but it's not great. For the Colorado Avalanche, at the beginning of the year, there were a lot of question marks, and they have addressed a lot of those question marks. One, we said that their goaltending was not good. So they went out, they revamped their goaltending. It's been good. Kenzie Blackwood has done his part. We said that they didn't have enough depth up front. Well, they went out and they addressed that. Right? Now they're getting Gabriel Landeskog back. I don't know what Gabe's going to give them, but the morale of that team to see him return is just, it's going to be through the roof. Right? It may not be the biggest boost on the ice for him, but that whole locker room is going to be just hyped to have him back, to have your leader back. He hasn't played hockey in a minute, but he's back now playing some of the most important games. Dallas's defense is questionable. Okay, there's no Miro Heiskanen start. I don't even know if he plays in this series, but Dallas has been on an absolute losing streak here to close out the year. And it's concerning and it's not at the same time. It's concerning because you don't want to go into the playoffs on such a negative, right? But at the same time, now you're here, everything is different, right? What you did in the regular season doesn't matter. But at the same time, you don't want to go in losing, right? You want to go in feeling good. Colorado is a team that needs to find a way to win on the road. They need to win one road game in order to lock this series up because I don't see them losing many at home. Dallas is a very good home team as well. I just don't know if the Dallas Stars have the depth defensively to contain the Colorado Avalanche. And we know what you're going to get with Nathan MacKinnon on home ice. Marty Necas has been really good. You went out to get all different types of players to solidify your lineup, right? You went out, you got Brock Nelson. We kept complaining they didn't have any depth. Valerie Nichushkin is here for now. Jonathan Drouin is there. Atari Lehkonen is there. There is some depth here. Their defense is still very good. You know, the core has been there for a minute on the back end. So I guess if I'm expecting Mackenzie Blackwood to be, he's got to be good. If he's not better than Jake Ottinger, that's fine. But he's got to be the backbone to this team a little bit as well. And Jake Ottinger's got to find a way to turn it around here because he has not been good down the stretch. But the whole team hasn't. I just don't like the way Dallas is going into this series. This will be one of my favorite series to watch. If I'm not watching the Montreal Canadiens series, I'm watching this one. There's no question about it. I'm excited to see how this goes. But I'm going to give Colorado the edge here. Okay? Next, we have our first upset. Okay? I'm going to give it to the Minnesota Wild. Minnesota Wild against the Vegas Golden Knights. Listen and listen carefully. Okay? The Minnesota Wild now have Kirill Kaprizov back in the lineup. They have Joel Eriksson Ek. Joel Eriksson Ek is a great two-way player, by the way. He's getting to that point where he is like he's gonna I don't want to say break out, but it's you have to start taking notice of him. Okay. And their defense is what it is, right? I don't think it's as good as Vegas. And we'll see what type of goaltending Philip Gustafson gives them. I think for the Minnesota Wild, this is a win by committee. But you have a little bit of every piece that you need. You have your elite goal scorer. You have a good centerman in Joel Eriksson Ek. Marco Rossi can play as well, a good second-line center role. Frederick Gaudreau as well. Then you have your secondary scoring and Matt Boldy and, you know, Matt Zuccarello was there. You brought in Gustav Nyquist as well. This Minnesota team is better than what people think they are. And because of all that time that Eriksson Ek and Kaprizov missed, like it is hard to replace your two best players, man. It's really, really hard. And for Vegas, here's the thing. Vegas is a great home ice team. And then they go on the road. And that's a little bit more complicated. Now, a lot of you are going to say, yeah, but Chris, Minnesota is not great at home. You're right. They're not. But they are really good on the road, though. They're one of the better road teams in the NHL. And you have to win on the road in the playoffs. If you are the underdog team coming in, you got to win road games. So this team knows how to do that. I trust Minnesota more to go and win on the road than I do Vegas. Vegas is healthy for now, right? And they have a lot of good pieces in place. Let's not get it twisted. They've won a Stanley Cup. They know how this goes. I just don't think that their ability to win on the road, their inability to win on the road, I think that is going to cost them in this series. I think the Minnesota Wild are a better team than most people want to give them credit to. Vegas has, like, of all the series, they have the highest in the West, I think, because I think Washington has the highest likelihood, like they're the biggest favorites in their matchup, but the Vegas Golden Knights are right there. So that is that. The LA Kings and the Edmonton Oilers. We should just pencil this matchup in every playoffs. Pencil it in. The Edmonton Oilers come into this series as a favorite, and that is shocking because the LA Kings are going to take this series. Okay. We'll pick here, as you see here, we'll pick in what round and whatnot, but we know how good the LA Kings, again, speaking of team, they don't lose on home ice. They don't lose. And I know on the road it's a little bit more difficult, but this is still a really good team. Okay. They have had, Darcy Kemper has had a resurgence this year. He doesn't lose at home. Doesn't lose. The Edmonton, I get betting against McDavid and Draisaitl is a choice, but I don't know how healthy Zach Hyman is. That Oilers team is missing a ton of depth up front. Like, let's not get it twisted. They are not as deep this year as they were last year. Their defense is not good. It's not good. Mattias Ekholm is going to be out for the entire first round. He may not play in the playoffs. So that's not good. Darnell Nurse is not great defensively. We know Evan Bouchard struggled. If there's one year the LA Kings are going to get by the Edmonton Oilers, it's now. It is now. This is it. I know you don't want to hear this, Oiler fans. I know you don't. But your team is not good. They do not deserve to be favorites in this matchup. They don't. They don't deserve it. Stuart Skinner is back. I don't know how great he's going to be, but listen. It's not good. It's not great, Bob. It's not great. Let's take the games here for the Winnipeg and St. Louis series. I'm going to take that one in 6 for Winnipeg. Colorado, Dallas, probably going to go to 7, as it should. Minnesota, Vegas, we're going to take Minnesota in 6. We're going to take as well the LA Kings over the Edmonton Oilers in 6. Everybody good till this point? Let's move over to the East here, okay? Let's start at the top here. Let's start with the Battle of Ontario, Toronto and the Ottawa Senators. This is a fantastic matchup, by the way. Fantastic. The Battle of Ontario. I didn't think I'd ever say this willingly, but listen to me. Listen to me carefully. The Toronto Maple Leafs are going to advance to the second round. And there's a couple of reasons why. One, the Ottawa Senators are a good team. I don't think they are as complete as people want them to be. Their offense is good, right? Brady Tkachuk came back yesterday. He didn't play really much. I think he's still banged up a little bit. Their defense is adequate. And most of how well the Senators do in this series is going to be on the play of Linus Ullmark. Right? He needs to be their best player at every single moment. In terms of skill, the Toronto Maple Leafs are by far the most skilled team in that matchup. Right? Like it's not even close. There are a ton of players with a ton of skill. They've went out, they've gotten some depth, they have secondary scoring, and that is going to play a factor here. Toronto has the most skill in that matchup. Ottawa has the most physicality. Let's not get it twisted. Ottawa's going to go out there and try to make life extremely hard for Toronto's core four. That's fine. But at the end of the day, you got to win games based on goals that you score. And I don't think Ottawa's going to score more goals than Toronto. And the Leafs have to get this series done as quickly as possible. Because the more you let it go, the more you give the Senators belief that they can win. Right? Ottawa is going to go out there and just try to make life extremely difficult. Every time you come down the board, you're going to take a shot. You're going to take a hit. You're going to want to get your body on Matthews, Marner, Nylander, Tavares. You're going to try to get your body on it. Right? In terms of defense, I don't think this group, this Toronto blue line, is terrible. I think they have a lot of guys on that blue line that are good hockey players. The Oliver Ekman-Larssons of the world, the Chris Tanevs of the world. These are guys built for the playoffs now. A lot of shot blocking. A lot of guys putting their body in front of pucks. It's not sexy, right? And look, the Toronto Maple Leafs didn't get much contribution this year from their blue line. And that's not going to change, right? But it's okay because their best players up front are paid to put the puck in the net. So those are the guys I want to figure out. Next is Anthony Stolarz. Joseph Woll should not see a single minute in in this round, unless Stolarz has an off night. You pull him, let him rest, and then you let Wall finish out. Joseph Wall should not start a single game as long as Anthony Stolarz is healthy. He has been exceptionally good for the Toronto Maple Leafs. They needed goaltending. They have it. This is one of the only years where I can look at Toronto's goaltending and say, hey, it's not going to be an issue. He needs to be up to his standard that he's played all year. That's it. Anthony Stolarz doesn't have to go out there and steal a game for his team. He just has to be really good. Linus Ullmark's going to have to do the stealing, right? But this, again, I can't believe I'm saying it. This is the year, again, that Toronto makes it past first round. I didn't think I'd say this, but here we are. All right? I swear to God, Leafs, if you don't make it and you make me look foolish, that's it. That'll be the end of it. Next, the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Florida Panthers. Man, what a series this is going to be. I'm going to be honest, I have no idea. I'm going to take Florida just because they're the defending Stanley Cup champions, and I don't even feel comfortable about that. Because betting against the Tampa Bay Lightning is certainly a choice, man. I just mentioned Nikita Kucherov wins the Art Ross, makes everybody better. Braden Point, fantastic. Jake Gensel has provided them with a ton of scoring. Brandon Hagel has been one of the better players this year. He scored 35 goals. I think every goal was 5-on-5. He didn't score a single power play goal. You got Victor Hedman on the back end. And then imagine trying to bet against Andrei Vasilevsky. That's certainly a choice. I'll give Florida the edge here for a couple of reasons. One, they can play on home ice and on the road. They're the defending champions. Two, I want to see in what shape Matthew Tkachuk is going to be. That's where, to me, that is where this series is going to be won. Matthew Tkachuk is good enough to pull his team to the next round. We've seen this in previous years, right? When they did the impossible against Boston, he was a big part of that. And Florida has a lot of good players that are set up to do some damage, right? Their blue line is very good. Sergei Bobrovsky is up there. Sam Reinhart can score goals. Alexander Barkov is there. They might need a little bit of secondary scoring, right? They might need a little bit more from Carter Verhaeghe. It's been a tough year for him. Brad Marchand is brought in here to contribute. He's not going to be here to just sit around and look pretty. And, Sam Bennett, you know what you're getting from him. But Matthew Tkachuk is going to be, if he's the player that he is expected to be, he's going to make life extremely difficult for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Tampa Bay Lightning don't have a Matthew Tkachuk. To me, he's the X factor here. If he plays well, the Florida Panthers advance. If he doesn't, if he's not effective, Tampa Bay advance. I will say this, one thing's for sure, this series going to 7, as it should. And if you are in the state of Florida right now, enjoy this moment, because you have 2 elite Florida teams facing off. They shouldn't be. That's a conversation for a whole other day, Gary. But that's why it was so important in the Atlantic to win your division, because then you didn't have to face off like this. Toronto's matchup against Ottawa is a lot more favorable to them than if they had to play Tampa Bay or Florida. So there you have it. Let's move on to the most important series here. Okay. Now, I know some of you are going to say, Chris, you're being a homer. I strap in. Okay. Strap in. Listen, if you know, that the Montreal Canadiens, have they ever been in a position where they are the team that squeaks into the playoffs with the least amount of points, face off against a team that finished with the most points in their conference? Do you guys remember? Do you remember when that may have happened before? I do. There was a Yaroslav Halak at that time who just went on an absolute tear. Do you remember a time when there was a certain number 14 player and a certain number 13 player on the team that were doing damage? Because I do. I remember the Thomas Placantis and the Mike Camillaris of the world. Now, I know some of you don't, which is fine. You don't have to. But here's the thing. The Washington Capitals, the way they struggled to get into the playoffs. But again, we're going to disregard them. The Washington Capitals, I'm happy that Montreal gets to play them, because the Washington Capitals are not going to be the most physical team in this series. They have players who can throw their weight around, but that's not their brand of hockey that they're built on, right? It's not. Do I think they're going to try to go out there and push the Montreal Canadiens around a little bit? Probably. Like Tom Wilson, stuff like that. But I think there are ways to contain that. As great as Alexander Ovechkin has been, he's 39. He doesn't have the quickest foot speed anymore. You know what you're getting from Ovi. It's an impossible task to stop him. But if you can limit the amount of damage he does, that puts you in a good step, which means you don't take dumb penalties. Okay? The Montreal Canadiens, I think the addition of Ivan Demidov gives them another angle. It's another weapon to use. That's the most important part. We don't know the health status of Logan Thompson. My expectation is that he plays game 1. But in what shape is he going to be in? Right? Washington they have the better offense. They have the better defense. They probably have the better goaltending as well. But when Samuel Montembeault is on his game, man, it's impossible to beat him. So Samuel Montembeault has to be the best player for the Montreal Canadiens every single night. He needs to channel his inner Yaroslav Halak. That's what he needs to do. He's got to be the best player. He cannot be average. Because the Montreal Canadiens are probably going to give up a ton of shots. And they don't take enough. But the Montreal Canadiens have players in place that can do some damage. And it's going to depend on Montreal's bottom 6. We've seen at different times their third line be great and their fourth line be great. Emil Heineman being back in the lineup is exactly what you need. Because he can forecheck. He's relentless. Goes out, does his damage. All right? And Montreal's third line has been good. Brendan Gallagher had a heck of a year. You know where he's going to be. He's built for these moments. The Montreal Canadiens defensively, they're a young team. We're going to see what they're made of now. All right? A lot of times this year, a lot of mistakes. Mike Matheson, we need you. This is the moment. Okay? This is where you elevate your game. But I'm going to give it to the Montreal Canadiens. This is a good matchup for them. It could have been a lot worse. If they had to play Florida, no good. If they had to play Tampa Bay, no good. Even if they beat Florida every single game this year, and I still feel more confident in Montreal having to play the Washington Capitals than to play the Florida Panthers. So, the Montreal Canadiens have to take care of business on home ice. Okay? You're gonna have to win one in Washington. You're gonna have to find a way to go into DC and come out with a win. Even if they lose the first 2 games of the series, it doesn't matter. Take care of business on home ice. Ideally, you come home with a split. And you steal home ice advantage. But it is what it is. But I'm gonna give the Montreal Canadiens the first round here. And last but not least, the Carolina Hurricanes and the New Jersey Devils. I'm gonna give this one to the Carolina Hurricanes. The New Jersey Devils it's tough. There's no Jack Hughes. I think that series will be a defensive matchup. I don't think it's going to be very interesting. And that's fine. But I think the Carolina Hurricanes are just so good in every sense. Even when their B squad was in town to face the Canadiens, their penalty kill is relentless. There's a reason why they were the top penalty killing team this year. And you can see why. They play the same way Brendan Moore does. They have enough skill up front to score goals. It's not going to be pretty every night, but they have enough of it. Defensively, this is a well-structured team. And then in goal, it's going to be on whatever Freddie Anderson can give you. When Freddie Anderson has played, he's been good. The question has always been, can he stay healthy? Right? So, but I'm going to give this one to the Carolina Hurricanes. I'm going to give this to the Hurricanes in 6, Canadiens in 7. Right? Florida Panthers in 7. Toronto Maple Leafs in 6. Okay. Not bad. All right. We'll close this out, okay? Let's close this out. Winnipeg, Colorado. There's a rematch of that 1 year. I'm going to give it to the Winnipeg Jets. This is, if they have to face Colorado in the second round, even if they have to face Dallas, it doesn't matter what team comes out of there. The Winnipeg Jets are the better team. Okay? And then between the Minnesota Wild and the LA Kings, I'm going to give it to the LA Kings. The LA Kings are just a more complete hockey team. On the east side, Florida and Toronto meet. We're going to give it to the Florida Panthers. The Montreal Canadiens and the Carolina Hurricanes. Listen, there will be no repeat. Like I said, Carolina's B team was really good. Gave Montreal a scare, so Carolina will eventually take that. The Winnipeg Jets will then beat the LA Kings. The Florida Panthers will beat the Carolina Hurricanes. But this might be the year that the Winnipeg Jets win the Stanley Cup. How many goals we scored? 26. As of today, I think the Winnipeg Jets can win the Stanley Cup. It'd be nice to see a Canadian team win, right, to start. If that happens, if the Winnipeg Jets win the Stanley Cup and Connor Hellebuck wins the Hart, the Vezina, and he's got a Stanley Cup behind his, on his finger, then I will concede that he would be a better goalie than Carey Price based on his resume. I would give it to him. Even if he doesn't have an Olympic gold medal and stuff like that, right? The Olympics is a different beast, right? It's different. Winning Stanley Cups in the NHL is exceptionally hard, and when you do that now, it sets you apart. It sets you apart. So I have the Winnipeg Jets taking care of business this year. It's not going to be easy. And again, this bracket is 100% correct as of today. Right? Could it change in the future? It could. But it'll still be 100% correct. Doesn't matter. So this is what I have. Okay. We'll update these as we go, right? We'll do them in the future as well. But this is where I'm at today. You should probably share your bracket with me. You can do that over on X at FuzzyChris91. You can do it. You can share it to the podcast as well at Slapshot Podcast, right? You can share it with me. But that is my official bracket. It is 100% correct. It's not up for discussion. Okay? There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, we have made it to the end of the podcast. As always, I appreciate you guys for hanging out with me. We will be back next week to talk a little bit more about the playoffs. Maybe see if some of my picks change. Give you an update on what's going on there. So make sure you tune into that. Again, if you have found yourself in here by accident, you want to find yourself back here, though, on purpose, over on YouTube, youtube.com/@SlapshotPod. Okay, go ahead, hit the sub button, ring the bell. You can follow me on X at FuzzyChris91. If you go to the link tree on X at Slapshot Podcast, you can pick up the podcast in an audio form that you enjoy the most. As always, I appreciate all of you for being here. Thank you so much for hanging out. You guys are the best. We'll talk to each other next week.